Book of Heaven. Volume 16. 8th to the 18th of February 1924. Page 88 to 95. February 8, 1924. What one must do in order to fulfill the office of living in the divine will. Where little ones must be and what they must do in it. I was fusing all of myself in the holy divine will, and in doing so, as the littlest of all, I placed myself in front of all generations, even before Adam and Eve were created, so that, before they sinned, I could prepare, before them, the act of reparation to the divine majesty, since in the divine will there is no past and no future, but everything is present. And so that, being little, I could approach it in order to plead and to do my little acts in it, to cover all the acts of creatures with his divine will, and therefore to be able to bind to it the broken human will and make them one. Now, while I was doing this, my annihilation, my misery and extreme littleness were such that I said to myself, instead of placing myself before everyone in the most holy will, I should rather put myself behind everyone, even behind the last man who will come. Since I am the most abject and the most miserable of all, the last place is suitable for me. Now, while I was doing this, my beloved Jesus came out from within my interior, and taking my hand, told me, "My little daughter, in my will the little ones must be before all, even more, inside my womb. One who has to plead, repair, unite our will not only with hers, but with that of all, must be close to us and so united to us as to receive all the reflections of the divinity in order to copy them within herself. She must have a thought which may belong to all, a word, a work, a step, a love, which may be of all and for all. And since our will enwraps everyone, may that thought of yours be of all, in our will, may that work, that act, that love, shine in every thought, word and act of all generations, and by the power of our will, may they become antidotes, defenders, lovers, workers, etc. If you knew with what love our Celestial Father awaits you, and the joy, the contentment he feels in seeing you, so little, bring the whole creation onto his lap, to give him the return of all. He feels the glory, the joys, the amusements of the purpose of creation coming back to him. This is why it is necessary that you come before all, and after you have come forth, you will turn back within our will and go behind everyone. You will place them on your lap, and you will bring them all into our womb. And in seeing them covered with your acts done in our will, we will welcome them with more love, and we will feel more disposed to bind our will with that of the creatures, that it may return to its full dominion. Therefore, courage. Little ones get lost within a crowd, and therefore it is necessary that you come forward in order to fulfill the mission of your office in our will. In our will, the little ones have no personal thoughts or belongings, but everything in common with the Celestial Father. Therefore, just as all enjoy the sun, being inundated by its light, because it has been created by God for the good of all, in the same way, all benefit from the acts done by the little daughter of our will, which, more than sun, dart through all, so that the sun of the eternal volition may rise again with that purpose for which generations were created. Therefore, do not get lost within the crowd of your miseries, of your abjection, of self-reflections, but think only about your office of little one in our will, and be attentive on fulfilling your mission. February 10, 1924. Necessity to write everything in these writings. The good they will produce. Indisputable purity, sanctity and strength of the doctrine of the divine will. It will be as a new sun in the Church, which will renew her and therefore transform the face of the earth. Abandonment in the divine volition. I was thinking to myself about all that was written in these past days, and I said to myself that they were neither necessary nor serious things. I could have done without putting them on paper, but obedience wanted it so, and I had the duty to say, "Fiat," also in this. But as I was thinking about this, my beloved Jesus told me, "Yet, my daughter, everything was necessary in order to make known how to live in my will." By not saying everything, some quality of how to live in it would be missing, and therefore the writings could not have the full effect of the living in my will. For example, on the abandonment of living in my will. If the soul did not live completely abandoned in my will, she would be like a person who lived in a sumptuous palace, and now leaned out of a window, now out of a balcony, now went down to the front door. In this way the poor one goes through the rooms just shortly or in passing, and therefore she knows nothing of the rule, of the work it takes, of the goods which are in there, of what she can take, and of what she can give. Who knows how many goods are there, and she knows nothing about it. Therefore she does not love as she should love, nor does she esteem that palace as it deserves. Now, for the soul who lives in my will and is not completely abandoned in it, self-reflections, cares of herself, fears, disturbances, are nothing other than the windows, the balconies, the front doors that she forms in my will, and going out very often, she is forced to see and feel the miseries of human life. And since the miseries are her own property while the riches of my will are mine, she becomes more attached to the miseries than to the riches, so she will not love nor enjoy the meaning of living in my will. And since she formed the main entrance, one day or another she will go out to live in the miserable hovel of her own will. See, then, how complete abandonment in me is necessary in order to live in my will. My will does not need the miseries of the human will, it wants the creature to live together with it, beautiful, just as she was delivered from its womb, without the miserable provision she made herself in the exile of life. Otherwise, there would be disparity, which would bring sorrow to my will and unhappiness to the human will. Do you see how necessary it is to make them understand that complete abandonment is needed in order to live in my will? And you say it is not necessary to write about it? I feel compassion for you, because you do not see what I see, and that's why you take it lightly. Instead, in my all-seeingness, I see that these writings will be for my church as a new sun which will rise in her midst, and men, attracted by its radiant light, will strive to transform themselves into this light and become spiritualized and divinized, and therefore, renewing the church, they will transform the face of the earth. The doctrine on my will is the purest, the most beautiful, not subject to any shadow of the material or of interest, either in the supernatural or in the natural order. Therefore, just like the sun, it will be the most penetrating, the most fecund, and the most welcomed and appreciated. And being light, it will make itself understood and will make its own way. It will not be subject to doubt or suspicions of error. And if some words will not be understood, it will be because of too much light, which, eclipsing the human intellect, will not allow them to understand the whole fullness of the truth. However, they will not find one word which is not true. At the most, they will not be able to comprehend it fully. Therefore, in view of the good which I see, I push you to neglect nothing in writing. One saying, one effect, one simile on my will can be like beneficial dew upon the souls, just as dew is beneficial on the plants after a day of burning sun, or like a pouring rain after long months of drought. You cannot understand all the good, the light, the strength contained in one word. But your Jesus knows it, and knows the ones whom it will serve and the good it will do. Now, as he was saying this, he showed me a table in the midst of the church, and all the writings on the divine will placed on it. Many venerable people surrounded that table and were transformed into light and divinized, and as they walked, they communicated that light to whomever they encountered. Then Jesus added, "You will see this great good from heaven, when the church will receive this celestial food, which will strengthen her and make her rise again to her full triumph." February 16, 1924. Immense sorrow and infinite joys which are incessantly renewed in the heart of Jesus. One who, with love, shares in his sorrows, also shares in his joys. I was thinking of the sorrows of the most holy heart of Jesus. Oh, how my pains disappeared when compared to his. And my always adorable Jesus told me, "My daughter, the sorrows of my heart are indescribable and incomprehensible to human creature. You must know that every beat of my heart was a distinct pain. Every heartbeat brought me a new pain, one different from the other. Human life is a continuous palpitating. If the heartbeat ceases, life ceases. And so now imagine what torrents of pain each beat of my heart brought me. Up to the last moment of my dying, from my conception to my last heartbeat, it did not spare me from bringing me new pains and bitter sorrows. However, you must also know that my divinity, which was inseparable from me, watching over my heart, while letting a new sorrow enter at each heartbeat, in the same way, at each heartbeat, it let enter new joys, new contentments, new harmonies and celestial secrets. If I was rich in sorrow and my heart enclosed immense seas of pain, I was also rich of happiness, of infinite joys and of unreachable sweetness. I would have died at the first heartbeat of pain, if the divinity, loving this heart with infinite love, had not let each heartbeat resound in two within my heart, sorrow and joy, bitterness and sweetness, pains and contentments, death and life, humiliation and glory, human abandonments and divine comforts. Oh, if you could see my heart, you would see all possible imaginable sorrows centralized in me, from which creatures rise again to new life, and all contentments and divine riches, flowing in my heart like many seas, as I diffuse them for the good of the whole human family. But who shares more in these immense treasures of my heart? For those who suffer more, for each pain, for each sorrow, there is special joy in my heart, which follows that pain or sorrow suffered by the creature. Pain renders her more dignified, more lovable, more dear, more worthy of sympathy. And since my heart drew upon itself all divine sympathies by virtue of the pains suffered, in seeing pain in the creature, which is a special characteristic of my heart, watching over this pain, with all my love I pour upon her the joys and contentments which my heart contains. But to my highest sorrow, while my heart would want to let my joys follow the pain I send to the creatures, not finding in them the love of suffering and the true resignation which my heart possessed, my joys still follow pain. But in seeing that the pain has not been received with love and honor and with highest submission, my joys do not find the way to enter that sorrowful heart and, grieving, they return to my heart. Therefore, when I find a soul who is resigned, who loves suffering, I feel her as though regenerated within my heart, and, oh, how sorrows and joys, bitterness and sweetness, alternate. I hold nothing back of all the goods which I can pour upon her. February 18, 1924. All created things have one single, I love you, from God for us, which, at the same time, is distinct in each one of them. I was fusing myself in the divine will according to my usual way, in order to find all created things and to be able to give my love in return, for myself and for all. Now, as I was doing this, I thought to myself, my Jesus says that he has created everything for love of me and for love of each one. But how can this be if many created things I don't even know? So many fishes that dart in the sea, so many birds that fly in the air, so many plants, so many flowers, such great variety of beauty contained in the whole universe. Who knows them? Just a little number of them. Therefore, if I don't even know them, especially I, who have been confined in a bed for years and years, how can he say that all created things have the mark and the seal of his, I love you, for me? Now, while I was thinking of this, my sweet Jesus moved in my interior, in the act of pricking up his ears in order to listen to me, and told me, "Yet, my daughter, it is true that each created thing has a distinct love for you. It is also true that you do not know them all, but this says nothing. On the contrary, it reveals to you my love even more, and tells you in clear notes that my, I love you, for you is both near and far from you, both hidden and unveiled. I do not act like the creatures, who, when they are close, are all love, but as soon as they move away, they become cold and are no longer able to love. My love is stable and fixed, it is near as much as it is far, hidden and secret. It has one single sound, never interrupted, I love you. See, you know the light of the sun, it is true. Indeed, you receive its light and its heat as much as you want, but more light overshoots you, so much as to fill the whole earth. If you wanted more light, the sun would give it to you, even all of it. Now, all the light of the sun tells you my, I love you, from near and from afar. Even more, as it goes throughout the earth, it carries for you the little sonata of my, I love you. Yet, you know neither the paths that the light covers, nor the lands it illuminates, nor the people who enjoy the beneficial influence of the sun's rays. But even though you do not know everything that the light does, you are in that same light, and if you do not take it all, it is because you lack the capacity of being able to absorb it within you. Just because of this, you cannot say that all the light of the sun does not tell you, "I love you." On the contrary, it makes a greater display of love, because as it is invading the earth, it is narrating my, "I love you," to all. The same thing for all the drops of water. You cannot drink them all, and enclose them within you. But just because of this you cannot say that they do not tell you my, "I love you." Therefore, all created things, whether they are known or not, all of them, have the mark of my, "I love you," because all of them serve the harmony of the universe, the decorum of creation, the mastery of our creative hand. I acted like a rich and tender father, who loves his son. Since the son has to leave the paternal house to take his position, the father prepares a sumptuous palace with innumerable rooms, and each of them contains a certain something, which may serve his son. Now, since those rooms are many, the son does not always see them. Even more, some of them he does not know, because no necessity to use them has occurred to him. But just because of this, can anyone perhaps deny that in each room there is a special love of the father for the son, since the paternal goodness has provided also for that which might not even be necessary to the son? So I did. This son came out from my womb, and I wanted him to lack nothing. Even more, I created many different things, and some enjoy one thing, some another, but everything has one single sound, "I love you."